Hello everyone. Welcome back to another brilliant episode of Faithful to the Traitors. I'm Ben, and as every week, I talk about how I am faithful. And this week I have to really mean it.
Well, you want to make a speech to the listeners?
We're around the round table, and in front of me now we have some silver bars.
Well, yes, we do.
So I'm in the game now, fully. And I don't want it to go to a traitor.
Oh, but one of us has to be a traitor, unless we're just going round and round in circles and we aren't
Or
both
one
faithful.
of the listeners is a traitor. So far, all the listeners have said they're faithful when they've contacted us. But we have some silver bars now.
We do.
Tempting us.
We need to thank at the Snowbuck. I believe that's their Twitter handle, for giving us 3 silver bars. And they're now, as they said, half the winnings of New Zealand, and
At least,
at the very least. And we've got this nice big table now in front of us, and we've put those tiny little. They're the size of an Amazon stick remote. Our silver bars are the size of 3 Amazon stick remotes.
They are,
and they're being overwhelmed by the table. But no, thank you.
They're being placed in front of us now to keep us on track.
Yes, I am also
eye on the prize.
I should say I'm Alex. I'm also faithful. I won't be coming into breakfast this morning and making a speech. I think you all know. You don't need that speech. But no, thank you to at the Snowbuck. We appreciate that lots. We're going to buy lots of coffees with that, which is the whole purpose.
If you win it, it might get stolen.
Of course. Well, we need to work together then. I'm going to do, obviously, the bits, how you can get in touch with us, and also how you can help out the podcast at the top of the show, because, as I mentioned last time, it gets lost at the end of the show. No one wants to listen to that at the end of the They click pause, delete, next download. Thank you very much. So we're going to frustrate you and do it now. You can get in touch with us. If you have any thoughts about this New Zealand series of the Traitors, or any series of the Traitors that we've reviewed or are currently reviewing, then you can find us on X at Traitors Podcast.
What's that?
It's this new social media thing by some guy called Elon Musk.
Oh, you mean Twitter?
Yes. We're on Instagram. Still haven't done Threads. At Faithful to the Traitors. And if you do want to help with the show, you can, if you've got a bit of spare change in your pocket, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful and buy us a gold bar. I think it's the equivalent of about $5 US dollars.
You need to top up the prize fund.
Prize fund, yeah. I need to carry some buckets of wine down the hill.
Otherwise, I'll be leaving the show like a previous contestant.
But if you want to tell your friends about us or review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favourite podcast apps, and enjoy the show, give us 5 stars, then that's another way you can promote the show and let more people know all about us. Share us. Take us from your mother's bosom and distribute us to your friends.
Yep. Ian rated us on Spotify. They said, love it. Keep up the good work, boys.
Thank you, Ian. Is that Spotify? I didn't realise you could write a written review on Spotify.
You can write a comment on an episode. Right. So that's the same thing.
I think we've had a few on Apple, actually. Shall I quickly
a couple of those you can email us. Have you done the email? I didn't listen to it.
No, I haven't done the email. Email us if you've got a long form question or just want to gush about how wonderful we are. Faithful to the Traitors at gmail.com. Didn't we get our first piece of spam this week as well? You said that we're obviously we're getting
someone
famous
was
now.
Like, I've been watching your podcast and I'm a professional editor, and it's like, listen, love, we don't edit the podcast, so you clearly do not know what we want.
Clearly he's not listened to the podcast, or else you know we haven't edited it.
Charging only $100 to edit. It's like, no. I press play and stop, and that's it.
That's the heighten of your
real
skills.
Conversation here. Yes, you can email us like Lydia did. She's from Spain.
Oh, hello.
And she's watching Traitors New Zealand along with us. And she said there was something that caught her eye because she watches with subtitles, because obviously she lives in Spain. She said, on episode 4 of The Traitors, during breakfast, when they are talking about the possibility of one of them being seduced...
Sorry, we're talking about the New Zealand series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Seduced by the traitors, Anna says, I thought that if you're seduced, you can turn it down, and then they potentially can't murder. So anyone was seduced, they potentially can't murder, so anyone who was seduced can't turn it down, ? Because if that is the case, am I right in remembering that the game and the rules... Wait.
Hang on. Have you filtered this question? Have you
No,
read
I
it once
have.
before you've decided to just garble it on the air for people to now
I have. It does
over their
make sense.
cornflakes just go? They're probably drooling right now, thinking, "What the heck is Ben trying to say?" I'm sorry, guys. This is
No.
what I live with. Ben's like, "Oh, look at this," and then just proceeds to just drool out mess.
I have read this. It makes sense. You remember
Yeah.
last episode?
Right.
The last one we
Paraphrase
watched?
it. Just
I
give
will.
us an
Basically,
idea.
it was the time when Anna said, "Have you been seduced?" And then Brooke went, "Yes." Remember to interrupt
and
her.
I said Brooke was silly and then he changed his mind quickly.
The person
It's probably very
asked.
hard. This is very difficult for you. Everyone can hear you like swallow. It's really hard.
I am very dry
what have I
mouth
done?
today. It's very
What
early.
have I done? You'd be awful on the Traitors. You'd be like, seduced.
Is Anna implying that the rules of this version don't allow faithfuls to tell that they have been approached by the traitor and declined it? Because I remember Alex did this in the UK version.
Right.
Because he stood up around the breakfast table and said,
He
I was
announced it.
doing, believe me. And also Christian made up that he rejected the seduction even though he was a traitor. Do you remember that? When
Yes.
Christian thought he was being clever.
He did. I do.
If that's the case, what do you think about this rule? That's what the person asked.
Well,
so
First of all, I didn't think we talked about past Traitors episodes because people may have not watched them yet. So I see you've broken our rule.
this is Lydia.
This is Lydia. Damn you, Lydia. I think you are allowed to say if you've been seduced or not. I think it's to the discretion of the person who's being seduced. Because we've discussed it ourselves, saying like tactically, what's the right route to take it, whether you accept it or not. I think if you accept it, you should never announce that you've been seduced. What really made us, to use the word Sam used in this episode, miffed. What really made me miffed. I love that Sam done so.
That Sam's
I'm so angry.
worst word,
I'm
yeah.
miffed.
He's like Marge Simpson.
Why don't we just go home and have a big bowl of strawberry ice cream? That's all Sam wants. Is when the presenter says that they try to seduce someone, because then that instantly lets the group know that that has happened, and so they know that there might be another traitor there. I don't think the presenter should have any. I don't think the presenter should have any participation in the game other than to
Yes.
control it.
Roger Corser, we're looking at you.
Roger, we're looking at you. And Claudia did it. Claudia did it in the
Leave
UK
Claudia
series.
alone.
I love her and her fringe, but oh my god, was I miffed when she said that. So I don't think the presenter should have any participation in the game other than to kind of like guide them through the games and through the round table. Other than that, I don't think there should be any. Have you noticed something saying that? No other series other than the UK series has the presenter joined the traitors in the Traitors Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Claudia's like there all the time.
Yeah, she's
a
basically
resident.
a traitor.
Yeah, she's always there.
She wishes she was.
Yeah.
She's not invited to the gang. Before we start talking about the episode as well, I know we're about 10 minutes in, but whatever. Every episode, right, begins with this. You ready?
No, hang on. Go on then.
A group of complete strangers from across New Zealand.
I was wondering how long you were going to get to this, right? Yeah, go on.
A group of complete strangers from across New Zealand.
They're not strangers, are
Where
they,
are the
Ben?
television broadcasting regulators?
Do they have an Ofcom in New Zealand?
Well, they should.
Right to write letter of
Every
complaint, then.
episode, the first thing you hear
A
is
group of
not
complete
is Paul.
strangers from across New
Complete
Zealand.
strangers.
I mean, Paul's
A group
a
of
rogue.
complete strangers.
All right.
They've all been to Paul's for bloody coffee, no doubt.
Well, they're
before
at
it even
Paul's now,
began.
drinking wine. Buckets
Yes.
of buckets of wine.
So, and Philly and Anna know each other now, I found out this episode. Anna
Right.
was like, Philly's acting a bit different than he does at home. It's like, well, what's going on here?
Her husband.
Yeah. Her son. It's like, what's going on? So
Well-
anyway, that's that.
You're right, again.
A group of complete strangers
Is
from
not what they are. I understand. I understand that. That's fine. But
I
again,
mean, does Paul find it easy to lie?
Well,
Because that sounds very convincing.
Well, Paul does.
That
I can imagine of all people, Paul's probably the
a group
best
of
at lying.
complete strangers from across New Zealand.
From across New Zealand.
Yes, all from one
length,
town.
The length and breadth of New
They
Zealand.
all live on the same street, actually.
They all live in Auckland.
They live next door to Paul's pad. So, yes. Anyway, so let's start the episode now.
Well, should we talk about everyone who know each other then and say how they've been backstabbing?
How long have you got?
Kings had a bit of a backstab this week,
Do you want to talk about the murder first? Because we always forget the murder.
Brodie,
I know.
who I've just discovered before we start recording, you told me she's a broadcaster. I didn't know
She's a lot of things.
I thought she was just a citizen.
I've got Brodie's fact file in the wonderfully written the spinoff.co.nz article that we all love.
Never is there not entertainment from
She's
that
a
article.
broadcaster, she's an athlete, she's an entrepreneur, she's Dancing with the Stars New Zealand icon.
Podcaster.
And now she's on the Traitors. She's a podcaster as well. Brodie is one of New Zealand's busiest people. So it's a treat to see her in this lineup of celebrities who want to murder other celebrities. Can't wait to see the energy she'll bring to the tumultuous game. Especially if she unleashes another cracking performance of Proud Mary. I'm guessing that's a dance she did on
Dancing with the Stars,
Dancing with the Stars. So there you go.
I find it really weird when they reference the reality show Dancing with the Stars, because the UK is a completely different name. And whenever, and I don't know,
Strictly.
But it confuses me that like every other country doesn't call it that. I don't know why they didn't.
Well, the celebrity lineup they have recent years, they can't call it with stars, can they? Because
What, in the UK?
yeah, that wouldn't be true.
Wow. God.
People with less followers than me are booked on it.
I told you, we'll be asked next week. We'll be getting the phone call.
Faithful podcast with 10 followers.
Alex from the Faithful Podcast. I mean, if they want me to do it, I would do it.
I'm very upset that Brodie's murdered and gone. I thought she had much more to play.
I'm upset too. But to be fair, it was the three that we've said last week. It was three people who we actually liked all of them.
Well, I like everyone anyway.
Colin,
so that's the
Justine
trouble.
and Brodie. And but I'm glad Colin hasn't gone. And I think that was a big mistake not getting rid of Colin, especially this week, because Colin has almost come out of his skin a little bit. Come out of his shell a little bit. He's he's an alien.
Brooke's come out of his skin.
Yeah, that's how they know each other. So yeah, I think that was a big mistake not getting rid of Colin this week because of this episode, because Colin, Colin is I think he's got more power than actually people think he has. He's very sneaky with his power.
Yeah, and people listen to him, I feel, when he speaks.
I like Colin. He's
Robbie
good.
came to breakfast with a speech.
She did. She's 100% authentic.
She's had enough.
She's had enough. She feels beaten up.
Yeah, piled on. Everyone left Darth
Not in a
Vander
good way.
alone when she cried.
Well, yeah, that's what she said, which I thought was a bit unfair. And I like the way that Vander kind of nodded and went, yep, that's what it took, me crying. Yeah, Robbie was like, when Vander cried for 5 minutes, everyone left her alone. Everyone's gone on to me.
Yeah, I've been bullied for days now.
You could see.
And then at the end of the episode, they're like, we're still suspicious of Robbie. It's like, right.
No. To be fair, they weren't all. It was just Philly again. Philly said, I just can't shake off this feeling, Robbie. And
Poor
Robbie,
Philly.
you just see that Robbie had a little bit, her confidence had grown a little bit this episode. Just a tiny little bit. And then with that one chalkboard turning over by Philly with the word Robbie written on it, she just literally drained herself again. I thought she was announcing she was leaving the show. I really did. I thought she was getting to the point where she was going to say,
I
like,
thought no one had
I
been
can't-
murdered because she was quitting, but no, Brodie
No,
did
that won't
still
work
get
though.
murdered.
That's not the rules.
It
They
all
still
got,
have to
there
get
was an odd
someone
edit though,
murdered.
wasn't it? Because before, like, all the last person came in, they showed us who'd murdered, and then Justine came in. It was like, that's odd. Why did they show us? I thought there was going to be a twist with Brodie, but there wasn't.
We got a bit excited because we thought, oh, hang on, maybe they've recruited maybe they've seduced Brodie.
Yeah.
But no, she crumpled up that piece of paper and slammed it on the floor. I
She knew it
expected
was
that
coming.
reaction from Brodie. And she did know it was coming. And again, that was something Colin kind of brought up at the breakfast table. The fact that Brodie was very brash and very overly confident with the fact that she was doing so well and how she was able to point people out. And I think she thought that she was so good, it would look too obvious if they got rid of her. But it didn't. It
I was a traitor! See you in hell!
Unfortunately, Brodie didn't get to do that ending, sadly. But yeah, God, that seems like such a long time ago. I can't believe a week had passed. Do you miss talking about the Traitors? Like, it's on a Monday and Tuesday. We get the beginning of the week,
Especially
nice
because
fresh
we're doing
start.
Australia at the same time. It,
So
like,
we're watching 4 episodes
yeah.
a week.
midway through the week, it feels like I should be doing a podcast, but I'm not, and it's just odd.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Feels empty.
I wish Australia kind of showed theirs at the end of the week, because then it would nice spaced out for us. Come on, you lot. Come on, 10 and 3. Sort yourselves out. I mean,
Brooke's talking a lot, isn't he?
You mean Brooke? Yes, sorry. Brooke is talking a lot, but only after the game. Before that, he was kind of just kind of throwing ideas out at people at the breakfast table. But then the game came around, and this is where we also saw a dark side of our mate Sam, because I've never seen this side of Sam before.
I know.
Like
Very
this
upset.
is Incredible Hulk style.
He was carrying
Sam.
his $100 bucket that all the way up
On
on his
his
own.
own.
Yeah, I mean, what they had to do, they had to get Paul's wine supplies from where they were dropped off from the lorry at the bottom of the hill, right up the hill to his winery.
Well, they were dropped off all over the place, weren't they? They weren't very practical vessels either, were they? Really, if you were like delivering like wine to like a pub or to someone's home, the last thing I would think was a bucket would be like the practical thing. Barrels, of course, but obviously that wouldn't then make the game that they couldn't spill
No.
the wine.
But they did well,
and so
didn't
on.
they?
They got.
Philly was there with his arms, helping.
Well, Philly messed up again, didn't he? And I don't. Do you
He
believe
was in a vest.
he was?
So you do have to remember that.
That's important. But do you think that Philly did accidentally cross that line twice? Because the rules were that the first 6 people to cross the line, or with the first 3 buckets, I should say, which can be carried by 2 people, that cross the line get to go to the armory. So obviously,
6 people.
well, it could be 6 people maximum. But if someone was to carry 2 of the buckets over the line, the same person,
I would have thought if I crossed the line once and I crossed it again, then I'd already crossed it once, so that was it. I wouldn't think it would take 2 places. That's silly.
that's what Philly said. But he was, to be fair to Paul, and it's not often I to stand up for
Yeah,
Paul.
Camp Paul.
He's very camp. Like really camp. To be fair to Paul, I think he explained the rules quite eloquently. I think I understood them.
Half were done over voiceover editing, though.
But
So you don't know what he says to people in real life.
yes, but
Round the wine.
again, I don't know how
Don't know how slurred his speech was.
drinking all that wine, guzzling it as he goes up the hill. But I presume though the production crew would have kind of reiterated the rules to them though before they carried on with the game. I think. So do you think Philly knew?
Well, Philly
what he was doing?
wanted the shield.
He got
'Cause
the shield, didn't he?
Yeah, so he did really want it.
Didn't help him much.
No, because he was gone. But yes, he wanted the shield, so maybe he did do it on purpose. But it's a game.
Well,
Anna walked across.
yeah, but
with
only
Philly.
once. Well, Anna did shout though, and the only people who were within earshot of her shouting this
Brooke
was
and
Brooke
Dan.
and Dan. So
And they were
obviously
like,
they're
"Yeah,
going
go." And then they went.
Of course, they are going to say that because they
also
wanted to do the
wanted.
same thing. So she, Anna said, "Can I cross? Can I cross?" I don't blame Anna for that, and I don't blame Philly.
Right. So who are you blaming?
But
No one.
Listen to my
Paul.
tuts as I say it. Yeah, I blame Paul. Who was the other one? There was one more other than Brooke and Dan, wasn't there?
Colin.
Colin.
He
And I
did
don't
the
blame-
he did
I
the
don't blame
second one with
Colin.
Philly.
Yes, that's it. And I don't blame Colin. I see. This is it. This is the bone of contention. When Sam found out that people had crossed the line, and he got a little bit
Because
miffed.
they did all agree at the start. Get all the buckets
Did they
to the
agree,
line.
though?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Get it to the line, line them up, and then they can all discuss who worked hardest, and then those 6 people go across.
Yes, and I
But
think
Philly
Sam
worked hard. His arm muscles were bulging. His veins were popping.
But I think Sam
So you can't take that away from him.
felt no. That's true. Philly did work. To be fair, Sam. That's why I say I don't actually blame Philly and Sam.
Sam had a $100
because-
bucket.
Well, they took Philly and Anna took the $750 from the furthest $750 to the line. So I honestly believe that they should have got the reward 100%. So they should have gone to the armory. Colin, he also carried a $751 with
Philly.
I don't know how far. I think that was the closest $751 though. Hence why he got to the line quite quickly
Your
too.
calves are going to be burning though.
Yeah,
and down hill.
but again, so I don't really blame Colin. In a weird way, to be fair, Brooke and Dan did carry a very heavy bucket, but they were deliberately speeding. They were deliberately going quite quickly, while the rest
So
of the
they could
team
have a chat together.
Well, they wanted a
traitor
private chat because Brooke wanted to talk to Dan privately because he said he couldn't have that private chat. But the whole point of us just having this discussion is whether Sam was right to be upset
Yes.
with the group, but specifically to me, Brooke, that they had crossed the line before they had a discussion to see who should have gone forward. Because I think in Sam's mind and his heart, he should have been one of the people who
But
should have
also,
gone to the armory.
I think it was Justine who said, actually, we all agreed to that. So everyone else could have been much quicker, but they all agreed to go at their pace.
Well, that's because Dan said that if we only had like a minute left when the last bucket crossed, and so if we had all hung around and waited and decided who was going to cross the line, we would have never got all the buckets crossed over because we would have had to have that discussion and then cross the buckets over the line. So yes, you're quite right. Justine did point out that no, that's a moot point because we could have got there quicker.
They would have acted different if they knew it was a race against
against time, so then we could have had that discussion.
Very complex.
It was very complex, but I did feel for Sam, and it was like the thing that pointed that I noticed was that a lot of people, whether they took Sam's side or not, weren't angry at Sam for bringing it up and being upset by it, but they were angry at Brooke for kind of dismissing his feelings, and later the term gaslighting was used, which put
Sam and Robbie were holding hands as they were discussing this across the sofas by the fireplace.
That's nice.
Because Robbie knows what it's like to be annoyed,
Robbie does know to be singled out, to be miffed. Yeah, I did like that. Sam, this is angry. Sam, like, is such a pleasant guy. You can tell, and he gets very excited. He reminds me of me a little bit because when I get really excited about something, my voice goes up an octave.
We got it!
About that octave,
about there. And Sam is so sweet that his like angry Sam is like
Miff.
just like it's just slightly less happy Sam. You know what I mean? It's like I genuinely, if Sam got really angry, I think the world would crumble and collapse within itself, because I don't believe Sam could ever get that angry. He's such a sweet
Brooke
guy.
nearly got there. Brooke nearly got it. But I thought at this point before the roundtable, I don't feel anyone really knows what's going on at the moment. They're a bit lost.
No, they all
I think because they've got so many traitors out, they've got two so early. Now they don't really know what to do with each other, so none of them are really have any idea. And I thought, oh, they're going to get Brooke again, because it looked like that way. They were all angry at Brooke when everyone was in the picking up the shield. All the faithfuls, they were all faithfuls, weren't they? Talking, and they were all pointing towards Brooke.
I think that Brooke was the target, to be honest with you. But then when they got to the round table, Dylan plodded along and said, oh, hello, Philly, I've got a few questions for you. And Dylan quite rightly pointed out a few things, i.e. one, that he made up a statement that Robbie had made the previous day that Robbie clear-cut denies, again, which was brought up at the breakfast table. That
I didn't even say it. I said nothing, actually, is what Robbie said.
And this is before Robbie and Philly got into the breakfast table. There was about 5 or 6 of them, and they all said, like, people have been accused of saying things in the past, and they've said they have said it, but not as the way it's been heard. Robbie point blank said, no, I didn't. So...
But what did Philly hear?
But what did
they're
Philly
both faithful,
hear?
so there's no reason for them not to be.
So this is what I mean. So Philly, this is the second time where Philly's kind of like misunderstood something. So the game was the second time. The first time was he thought he heard Robbie say something. So I feel like Philly kind of doesn't. He's like, I don't know. He's not present in the room.
The prime example of when people say, "This is my truth." And then someone else says, well, this is my truth, my version of the truth. Both versions are true, but both people have heard or seen different things.
Yeah.
This happens in real life.
Life imitating art, or art imitating life.
So
television production imitating
this is the type
life.
of weird thing that happens where Philly obviously heard something and he believes he heard it. Robbie believes she didn't say anything and believes she didn't.
Well, I'm wondering if Philly had some...
It's been a split in dimensions. And now there's 2 universes being created because of this.
The Mandela effect?
Yeah. There's the Philly universe and the Robbie universe now.
Oh, wow. Which one are we living in? Robbie's?
Yeah. We are, because Philly's gone. So,
I want to live in Philly's.
Same.
Come on, Philly. Give us an invite. So as soon as Dylan brought that up, so he said about the Robbie thing, he also said that when...
See, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Play that clip 10 seconds earlier for my multiverse theory, thank you. Just so everyone can hear.
Sorry. Everyone send Ben a clap emoji to at Faithful's Podcasts. So, Traitors Podcast, not Faithful's Podcast. Oh,
which one are you?
Well, in the Brooks, for God's sake, in the Robbie sphere, it's the Faithful Podcast, but in the Philly sphere, it's the Traitors Podcast. Colin brought up that Philly said, "Do I get to go to the armory twice?" When he crossed the line twice,
So he did
even
know.
though Philly claimed that he didn't know. Now, see, this is the thing. I still think that Philly didn't realise what he did. When he realised what he had done, then he made a joke about it. So
that was the nail in the coffin for Philly, I think.
Pretty
Colin
much.
bringing that up.
Yeah. So that's why I think that
Even his best mate Kings went against him.
Kings did go against him. King's got an awesome tattoo, by the way. Did you see it on his wrist?
No.
It's like a crown.
Oh.
It's really
King.
smart. King's king.
Or
King's
queen.
crown. What?
Or a queen's crown. It could be a queen's crown, not a king's crown.
What, for his wifey?
Yeah, for Philly.
For Philly.
Can we also say murder, by the way? Another woman.
If you want, murder. Oh, I see. Oh, well, at the top of the show, they murdered another woman.
What's going on
I'm
here?
telling you, it's misogynistic. What was it? What was it after they did the breakfast table? They did. They showed. It was all the men outside talking to each other. Yeah.
It's like, oh, boys' club. Christ.
Boys' club reignited.
So obviously, all the women are getting murdered.
Well, the only way you can now get rid of the men is through banishment.
Hmm.
It's going back to the cavemen.
Yeah, no man has been murdered, only banished because of the women vote. Oh dear, what's going on in New Zealand?
Although there has been more men banished than women. In fact, there's been 3 men banished and only 1 woman. So it
murder's
evens it out.
worse. Murder's more personal.
Has there
You have to
always...
look them in the face and stab them.
I was about to say, has there always been only men traitors? But that wasn't Lauren. But Lauren didn't do a great job
She was
at
gone
it.
episode 1.
Bless you, Lauren. You tried. So basically, I think that if it hadn't been for Dylan's intervention, Brooke was in a much more tighter situation. He still talked a lot, though, old Brooke, and he was kind of
Panicked.
wrangling and panicking. You could tell he was panicking. He was
He's like a panicked fish.
Pardon?
He was like a panicked fish.
You mean a rabbit in headlights?
No.
No,
Panicked
just a
fish. That's what
panicked
he looked like.
fish.
In a net, I feel. If you pick up a fish in a net and hold it out, that's what Brooke was doing.
He fell on the floor and started
Swiggling
flopping
around.
about.
No, in the net, traps. I'm holding the net
that's
out.
what fish do. They flop about.
Yeah, that's what Brooke was doing.
Brooke was flopping. So, does anyone else got pointed out? I don't really think so. I mean, they asked old Robbie, Robbie, have you got any theories? And Robbie was a bit like, nah, I'm just a bit
No
tired
one
of
has
all
a
this,
theory.
really.
They asked Brooke and he was like, oh, I don't know. And they asked Philly, he was like, I don't know, I'm just going to go Robbie again.
No, Philly said Robbie,
Yeah, but he's like, I don't really know, so I'm just going to do the same.
And he did.
No one knows, which
No.
is why we're...
Well, this
is the first vote where it was pinpointed on one person, wasn't it?
This was this was the first herd mentality vote for the New Zealand
You
series.
see, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
And it sadly didn't work out for them. However, another glaring thing for the vote was that all but Philly voted for Philly. Obviously, Philly can't vote for himself. Well, I suppose he could vote for himself, but if he saw the writing on the wall or on the chalkboard, perhaps he would have. I think he should have. Anyway, the 2 people who didn't vote for Philly were the 2 traitors, Dan and Brooke. And Brooke voted for Sam.
Oh.
Immediately upsetting Sam. Sam leant forward. You could see he was turning green. His shirt was ripping a little bit.
I think Brooke was playing what Anna said at breakfast. You're playing 4D chess, 3 spaces ahead. Brooke is planting Sam early as a traitor.
Well, of course he is,
like,
because Sam's planting him.
So next week, next episode or next week, Sam's going to be
next episode
in Brooke's sight.
Sam and Brooke are the ones that we haven't really seen on the New Zealand series because of Lauren getting voted off quite quickly, because there was that kind of tension between Lauren and someone else, I remember rightly. They didn't get on with each other very well. Sam and Brooke are becoming the 2 people who will now, no matter what, will vote for each other at every single round table. Sam, I don't think, likes Brooke very much. And I don't think Brooke, because of the way Sam approached the problem of the wine challenge, he's kind of reining Sam in a little bit. Who's going to win, Sam or Brooke? I think Sam's going to win. I do. I think Sam's going to win, which is going to leave our mate Dan as the sole traitor. However...
Can't be a sole traitor.
Well... Is that going to happen?
Before we move on to that then, Philly went.
Yep.
So we've got Philly's fact file, of course, because there's our only chance to do the Philly facts.
Philly facts.
He is an influencer and an IT consultant.
Why can't anyone just have a job? Why can't someone just
Because you keep saying New Zealand's a small place, there's not many people. They will have to take 2 or 3 jobs because there's so little people.
Sounds like the silo.
They all know each other.
The silo.
Yeah,
they all have a job. They all get given a job.
Philly is disciplined.
Ooh.
He's competitive. And he's determined. You can tell that by his tight T-shirts.
Well, you could also tell that by the way that when he was getting voted at the round table, you could tell like he was he was not happy that he was getting voted. Which
Well,
I don't
I like
blame him,
Philly.
because he was
He's got a
faithful.
calming voice, Philly, I find. How will Philly fare?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Only Paul Henry's fedora will know the truth. But we'll keep an eye. I didn't write this. We'll keep an eye on this player, one who is already planning to fly under the radar as just another fitness guy. There you go. He was using his muscles to distract. The distraction technique.
But that did work for him until he then stepped forward into the limelight, and then people started noticing him. He should have stayed back. Because if you remember rightly, in the first few episodes, him and Kings, we said that they kind of just quietly just watched the world go by and vote together.
Mm-hmm. He's got a YouTube channel.
Has he?
Where you can do some home workouts with Philly.
Oh, I need to do a few home workouts. I'm going to get a little tummy.
The Coconut TV.
The Coconut.
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 Coco. Wait.
Oh, here we go. Remember that email?
Coconut.
Remember that email at the top of the show which Ben couldn't
It
read?
is.
Now we're in...
The Coconut TV.
Okay.
He's got blonde hair.
My name's Philly
What?
and I'm going to be taking you through a home workout. That was
We don't
designed
need...
by
we can't
Kevin.
hear anything if they were trying to play a video. Look, let's...
Sorry, I thought you could hear that.
No.
I could hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Philly, he said this. I'm Philly, and I'm going to take you on a home workout. And he's got bleached blonde hair, and he's wearing a vest. So there you go. So you can find his home workouts if you want. So that was Philly's
I might
fact
post,
file.
If anyone's listening to this, keep your eye on our social media, because I might post a clip of that video of what Ben... I won't show... Ben's version, I have to say, was probably infinitely better than Philly's ultimately version will be. But I'm sorry, have I upset you by saying that you're better than Philly? Okay. Look, let's talk about... Because I feel as though we're turning this into an hour-long special. Should we talk about the murder/recruitment?
Yes.
So they talked about murdering, first of all. There were two names that were thrown into the air. There was Justine, who they said was a strong character. And there was Dylan, who they said was smart, but had very little influence on the game. I mean, Dylan has pretty much pointed to most of the traitors, but he, as Ace quite rightly said, he doesn't seem to be able to tell other people.
And I'm going to be taking you through a home workout that was designed
There you go.
Thank you.
It's okay.
God's sake. But they didn't choose to murder, did they?
No.
No.
I think they're being silly recruiting. Still think they're one episode too early.
They've recruited once already.
I know, but I don't think they should, because Dan's not on the radar, and they think that Brooke can talk his way out of it. Recruiting Robbie, they're basically recruiting Robbie as a way to them stick together and get rid of the woman. Is where we're going.
Well, that's exactly what they want to do. They're hanging her up to dry.
Being
they're
a
saying,
female, that's what they'll do.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly what they're doing. They said that people were very suspicious of Robbie. Her speech at the big breakfast table didn't really do much for her, other than people are kind of like almost being kind and not voting for her just for a couple of episodes now, just to kind of let her feel comfortable on the show anymore. She's not sleeping, which is not a good sign.
But it's not a letter where she has to say yes, is it?
Well, as we discussed on the email at the top of the show that you mumbled through.
Yes.
Yeah, so Robbie doesn't have to say yes. And if Robbie's got any sense, she shouldn't say yes. I'm sorry, but she shouldn't.
Yeah, but she's going to say no.
She shouldn't say yes.
I think she's going to say yeah.
You think she's going to say yes?
I'm going to think she's going to say no.
Yeah, so that's what I think as well.
Yes, but I have another point after that sentence.
Continue.
God.
I'm going to put you in the workout. Go on.
Oh, now you see, this is fascinating.
What she'll do,
Absolutely fascinating.
she'll say no to the traitors, and then she'll barge into the breakfast table, and she'll say, I was recruited last night and I said no. Thinking that everyone's going to believe her.
And then she'll get voted off. Which, again, she's done the work for the
Thinking
traitors.
she's done the most powerful, special mind game play in the whole of the land. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think she'll say yes. I think if she said yes, she will crumble under the second she walks through the door.
Well, this is the other thing that the traitors have said that they want to also introduce Robbie so that she can be voted off, because then that would really confuse people by how many traitors there are left in the game.
So
So
if she's original or recruited.
because I think a lot of people would imagine that she would be an original one by the way that she's kind of gone a little bit weird and upset.
She needs to grab two people that she trusts and tell them. I think she should grab Anna and
Sam.
Justine.
Oh. She was holding Sam's
Or
hand.
Sam. Oh, yeah, Sam. Okay, Anna, Justine, and Sam.
Always have Sam in your corner.
Grab them, get them
kick ass,
together, and she
and
needs
ask
to
questions
say,
later.
I'm telling you a secret here. I was recruited. I said no. We need to work out who would try to recruit me, and that's where they need to. They'll go towards Brooke because of his weird vote system on this episode.
There's not really been
Because
any.
Anna's suspicious of Brooke,
Yeah.
and I think Justine is as well, and Colin.
Sam's suspicious of Brooke.
Yeah, you
Everyone bar the 5 people who went to the armory in this episode were sat around with each other, and they all said Brooke, which is why I say that Brooke was in a lot of trouble. It was only because Dylan brought up Philly that they kind of swayed the vote the opposite direction. If
That's
Dylan
what she
hadn't
needs
done
to do.
that, and that's exactly what she needs to do. This is the thing. See, Robbie, if you're listening, and we could retrospectively go back to your world,
Right.
you need to, instead of isolating yourself, you need to get into the group more, because by you showing yourself as being the victim,
I think she is in the group.
yeah, but she's playing the victim card.
I'd be her friend if I was in the group.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If I was in her position, and I'd feel exhausted by this all as well. But she needs to realise that, and she needs to rise above it. That's what Vanda did.
Vanda cried.
Yeah, she rose above it. She cried and showed that she. But since
People
then,
are still suspicious of Vanda, though. There was one person who said they were suspicious of her.
There
still. I can't
was.
remember who
It was our mate.
Which one?
It was Dan. No, Colin. Sorry, Colin. Colin said he was still suspicious of Vanda, because
Darth
Colin
Vanda.
is obsessed with Vanda. I think Colin's got a little crush on Vanda.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I mean, I would.
Right, so there you go then. So what, you think she's going to say yes or no to the final thoughts? Jerry Springer, final thoughts.
I don't know if she will say yes or no, but
That's
I think.
not what I asked.
Well, my opinion is that she shouldn't say yes. She should
I don't
say
think
no.
she will. I think she'll say
But-
no and think she'll do a clever play, which will backfire.
Yeah, but
Hilarious result.
I think I think you're right though. I think she should tell the group that she was recruited, because then that would make people realise that there was perhaps 2 traitors out there.
No, yeah, that would make them know the numbers.
Yeah. So I think that would help if she was going to help the wider group, she should let them know that she was recruited. But as you say, I think it would backfire monumentally for her.
We'll find out soon, because the next episode's out. Right, so
What does everyone else think?
I don't know.
Well, they can let us know. So as we say, we're recording this as it's broadcast. So do get in touch with us on X at Traitors Podcast,
Twitter.
on Meta, Instagram, at Faithful to the Traitors. You can email us faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful and throw a few silver bars our
If you're
way.
a faithful and you want to top up the prize fund, otherwise we may be suspicious.
And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favourite podcast apps, don't forget to rate us 5 stars if you enjoy listening to the podcast, and comment why you enjoy the podcast so much. Share with your friends. Tell your friends all about us. Say there's these 2 camp, posh English guys who talk about the
I
traitors
thought
a
you were talking
lot.
about Paul then. Paul Henry.
He might be English. Was he born in the UK?
I don't know.
No.
No, of course not.
He might have been, and then moved to
No.
New Zealand with a family.
What, 'cause he's...
£10 poms.
Oh yeah, true. I've still got my family in... Oh no, not in New Zealand do that too, did they? Or just
They must-
Australia?
I would have thought so. I don't know. I don't know the history. I mean, we know the history of
When we visit New Zealand, we will see. We've already had 2 invites, haven't we? So
Yes.
We've got 2 night stays booked. So there you go.
Now
Right,
we just need to
everyone.
pay for the flights.
Hence the silver bars.
Buymeacoffee.com/faithful.
Right, so there you go. So that was another episode of Faithful to the Traitors. And I'm going to pop off and do a Philly workout.